So if I jump right into the meeting agenda, the first item is the 2020 season review. Well, 2020 didn't quite go the way we planned it. Basically, we canceled everything. And what we did do, oh, wait, I want to share my screen, don't I? Can everybody see my screen? Good. So as I was saying, basically we canceled everything for the 2020 season, and what we did do is we had a few Zooms. We tried to keep them monthly. We played some games on them, had some good discussions, did a little bit of nautical trivia, scavenger hunt, had some people make drinks one time, and also had a holiday Zoom. Unfortunately, that's not, a Zoom's not the same thing as being on the water and socializing and things like that. So hopefully this year we'll be able to do some actual sailing in the lake. The one thing I did want to mention was the membership dues covered carryover. If you did pay your dues last year, what we've done is we've said that if you paid your dues last year, you don't need to pay your dues this year. So that's really it. I mean, that's enough of 2020. It's ancient history. Let's press on.
Gary?
Yes.
You should mention that you need to send in the form for their dues to carry over.
What's that?
They do need to send in the form for their dues to carry over.
Oh, that's a good point. Yes. We still need to have your membership form for the 2021 season. But again, if you paid your dues for 2020, you don't need to pay your dues for 2021. So I think this is where we were going to have the first of the door prize drawings. So Lisa, I think you're up. Show them what they've won.
Okay, so behind me, I have the names of everybody, hopefully. And we're having our drawing. Do you want to tell them what the prize is?
It's a $50 gift certificate.
Yep.
For trips and
is,
anything within the club.
Oops, I've had more than one name. Sorry.
It's a $50 certificate for a sailing trip.
Oh, for a sailing trip.
And the name is? Can you see it?
Jen Nixon.
Jan Nixon, yay. Hope she's out of the shower.
Okay.
So I'll press on to 2021. The first item on my agenda is the election results for 2021. And Mia is going to be the Commodore next year. Eleanor, the Vice Commodore. Membership Secretary will be Lisa. And the members at large, which are elected for a one-year term, are John Franceschetti, Henry Gibson, Bruce Golub, Beth Jelinek, Joel Mack, Debbie Munther, and Bob Rainey. So congrats to everybody that was elected in 2021. There are 2 members of the board that are continuing to serve the remaining year of their 2-year term, and that's Steve Krakauer as the treasurer, Mary Ann Gordon, and then starting the 1st of next month, I will be the past Commodore. Traditionally, we've had the Commodore, the new Commodore, to have a few remarks. Mia, do you want to unmute and say a few words? Do you need me to stop sharing?
No, I have nothing to share. Nothing to share.
Okay.
No, that's correct. I am going to take it back on. I was, for those who don't know, I was the Commodore a few terms back. It's been a couple people in between, but I look forward to stepping in and helping the club regain its sea legs in 2021. You'll notice that once we announce the trips that we're not contemplating trying to get out on the water until not in the spring, basically, until sometime in June. But we are hoping to do some sailing in the Chesapeake as well as abroad, fingers crossed, this year before the end of 2021. That's sort of where we are right now in terms of planning, as you'll see. Obviously, we will continue to take whatever the pandemic advice of the CDC is, as well as practical considerations in terms of any sort of travel we plan to do with the club. So it's possible trips that we have planned this year might not go if it doesn't seem like the right thing to do as we get closer to them. You know, for every charter company, we have a cancellation date for the boats without huge penalty. Sometimes just a small one. And that's what we look at as the cutoff date most of the time. So if you're signed up for a trip, and do sign up, please sign up. You know, let's keep our fingers crossed that we're able to go. But you know, you might learn that we've decided it's not the appropriate action to take at that time. So keep your ears open. But hopefully we will get some of our trips in, if not all of them. I'll reiterate what Gary and Lisa said. In your membership packet, you will find your membership form, as well as all the trip information and the trip sign up forms that you will need to use to sign up for the trips. Be sure to send the membership form in. If you paid dues last year, you don't have to pay your dues again. We are rolling them over because we didn't do anything last year, sadly. The membership packet is available on the website as of today. So you can go and grab it there, since we're not in person to hand them to you, which we usually would do at the annual meeting. I think that's kind of all I have. Yeah, I think, Gary, can you officially, hand over the responsibility?
Well, since I have this Commodore's Burgee that I was never able to use because of the damn pandemic, I'm going to pass my Burgee on to the new Commodore. There you go, Mia.
Thank you. Got it. Awesome. I think we're doing another door prize.
I think it's time for another door prize.
I think they should be called Zoom prizes.
Oh, okay. Since no one's at the door.
Sorry, I just realized I was muted. So once again, we have another $50 gift certificate off sailing trips. And let me make sure I just get one name this time. Okay. Can you read it?
I don't think Janet joined us.
Oh, so do I pick another name?
Yeah.
All right.
Ah, nice.
Good for you.
Lisa, this is Jim. Why don't you put Jan Nixon's back in the pot and draw it out for someone who's local?
I can do that.
That'd be good.
Okay.
Well, you don't
Redo
put it
that.
back in, just draw another one in place of Jan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just do one more drawing.
Okay, here we go.
I can't take the tension.
And
Andy.
Andy's here, right?
Yeah, Andy's here.
Nice.
Andy's the big winner.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll continue on with the sailing preview. We have basically 3 trips planned for next year. On the water training, Majorca, and then it's kind of a double trip on the Chesapeake. What we've done, well, I'll get to the Chesapeake later. On the water training, it's basically going to be about the same as other years. We're not starting this until the end of June. Hopefully by then we'll be, we'll be able to get together with COVID in mind and things like that. So, we're not going to start anything before the end of June. On water training will be pretty typical. It's a 2-day training experience. We'll arrive Friday. It'll include discussion of boat systems, underpower exercises, sail exercises, and we may try to incorporate some aspects of on-land training since we're not going to be having an on-land training this year. And I think we were going to do another door prize between each one of the trips. Am I correct?
okay. Here we go again. And the winner is Cherie.
Sherry.
So good for you. Once again, it's a $50 gift certificate off sailing trips.
Mia?
Gary,
Oops, I'm sorry.
just real
What's up, Steve?
quickly, for those that will win the gift certificate, you may wonder how you're going to get that, and they will be snail mailed to you. So anytime in the next 2 months, they could arrive.
Mia, do you want me to unshare? Or are you sharing now?
I should be sharing now.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
your
I can see it.
presentation here.
That's great. So actually sorry, I had moved this to another slide. Before I do that, we missed something. I missed something a few minutes ago. It is very typical at the end of a Commodore's, it's a tradition at the end of a Commodore's term to offer them a small gift in thanks for serving us all and serving the club. So, and we usually actually ask the Commodore what they would like rather than just surprising them. So Gary opted for a couple things. One was because he had to give me the Commodore flag, a past Commodore flag. And that is, it's in the hands of the person who reached out and got it. It's not yet in Gary's hands, but it will be soon. And the other was to make a couple of charitable donations to organizations. And actually, I apologize, I didn't write down what they were. I don't have it in front of me. Gary, do you want to tell us what they were? What they are?
Yeah, I asked Bob if he would make donations to the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. Excuse me. And also to Save Barnegat Bay.
So thanks for that, Gary.
Yeah, those are the two organizations, or they're the two bodies of water that I sail on most.
Mm-hmm. And we're, as the sailing club, happy to make a contribution to the waters that we all use. So that's great. All right, so I'm going to talk about a trip that we heard about for the first time. Well, actually, we didn't have this meeting last year, but had we had this meeting, we would have heard about it then. We certainly did actually promote this trip, and we actually did almost fill it before we had to decide to postpone it for a year. So we're going to try again, and hopefully conditions in Spain will be conducive to us going. As I said earlier, if they don't look good, we will postpone it again or something. But in the meantime, let's hope we can do it. So in September, it's a week on Majorca, around the south coast of Majorca. Majorca is one of the Balearic Islands that are off the coast of Spain in the Mediterranean. closest to Barcelona, pretty much. I think that's probably the main city you might go to. But Mallorca itself has a huge airport, so you can fly directly there. 7 days relaxing in the Med. As I said, oh, I should have just gone to this slide. We'll do some little bit of blue water sailing, well, coastal sailing. There are sandy beaches. Dinner is always late in Spain, so that's something to keep in mind. And of course, lots of cava and tapas. We have 2 boats, a Beneteau Oceanus 41, a Dufour 39. Both are 3 cabin, 2 head. We'll have dinghies, and of course, plenty of other amenities on the boats, too long to list. So that's Mallorca, and the blue fuzzy line is roughly our plan, leaving from Palma. Valencia, that's the other city, his name escaped me. So you might fly to those first and then fly to Palma, or you might go direct. As I said, it's the 3rd largest airport in Spain, so it's definitely going to have flights to it. The distances are between 15 and 21 nautical miles for the route. There's mostly anchoring. We will do some marinas. We discovered in the Med 2 years ago, oh man, 2 years ago in France, that sometimes marinas can be problematic, and also it's often difficult to make reservations far in advance like we like to do. So we're trying not to really count on marinas too much just in case we have trouble. Anyway, winds tend to be 15 to 25 knots at the time of year we're going to be there, and the seas tend to be calm to moderate. So it should be really fantastic sailing. We're going to get there. You can come earlier, obviously. Get on board, store gear, go get provisions in Palma, and then have a dinner ashore. We can select a restaurant for that. Next day, we're going to sail to Cala Pi. I should have looked up the pronunciation. It's about a 20-mile sail. It's a deep natural harbor, pristine beach, and we'll have our joint appetizer party. That's sort of a sailing club tradition that evening. We haven't even asked the charter company about rafting up. Probably not. It's often not allowed, but you know, we have dinghies, so we'll find a way. Next day, we will sail to Cala Figuera, another 20-ish mile sail, and we'll anchor there. It's a really sweet traditional fishing village, and there's some good snorkeling in the area that we can get to, and we can go ashore to dinner in many possible seafood restaurants there. Next day, we'll sail to Porto Cristo, which is just 16 miles, so a little more time, little shorter sail, but gives a little more snorkeling time. Although actually we will get in, try to arrive early, go ashore. We are going to try to get into the marinas here. There's a couple choices. The thing you want to do here is visit the Dragon Caves that are pretty much in town. So it's not too hard to get to them. It's not a long trip, not a dinghy ride. Actually, you go inland, not far inland, but in town, and sign up for the tour. You can explore a town after that, and we're planning to do a group dinner ashore here, meaning it's part of your trip expense, not on your own dime. So check into the Dragon Caves. They look pretty cool. We'll have a long sail the next day to get to Ilha Cabrera, which is a national park off the south coast of the island. It's a smaller island off the coast. We will do our best to reserve moorings there because you can't anchor. You do need to be on a mooring, and we'll have dinner aboard. But it's beautiful, beautiful scenery. This lighthouse is worth a hike to see it. We'll have a day there. You can go hiking, you can explore the island more, you can visit the castle ruins that are there as well. There's good snorkeling, and just relax. So we've had a long sail, and then we have the rest day. Because then we got to go back. That'll be the end of the trip. It's a long sail back to Palma. And then, of course, our standard must-go dinners to get rid of what food we somehow manage not to eat. So that is the rough itinerary. We'll disembark the next day at 10 a.m. and you can head home, or you can explore Spain further if conditions allow, or go somewhere else in Europe. So included are that group dinner I mentioned. We'll have a memento. The mooring fees, the slip fees are included, and there'll be linens and towels on the boat. Extra will be the provisions, your airfare, lodging if you go early or stay late, of course, travel insurance, and the usual miscellaneous boat expenses like ice and fuel and that stuff. So that's all pretty standard. So our asking price for the trip is $920. It did go up a little. To those who are already signed up, I neglected to go into detail about that in communicating with you all, but the boats this year are a little bit more expensive, so we did have to raise the price. There'll be a random draw in 2 weeks, as we always do, for the available berths on this trip. At this time, there are 3 berths available. And this is because, as I mentioned, we did nearly fill the trip for last year. And then we gave those people who had committed last year the right of first refusal to sign up for this trip. And there are 12, 8, 11 to 9. 9 of those people have said they still want to go and they want to keep their berth. So that leaves 3 spots open. We had 11, now we have 9. So there's 3 spots open. I will do a drawing from reservations that I receive in 2 weeks for those 3 berths. If I only get 3 people, then you're all in. If I get more than 3, then it'll be a drawing and you'll find out what your status is in a couple of weeks, as usual. So if you have any questions, either I or Steve, the assistant trip leader, can help you out. And that's Majorca. And I
Mia,
would
should we
normally-
should we
Go ahead.
conclude from the way you're running it that there are no extra boats available? No additional boats?
It's not completely out of the question, actually. We did have 2 last year, and it looked like that was going to be it for 2020. There were no other boats available in 2020, but of course, everything has changed. So if I get enough additional people, including the skippers, skipper, first mate, we could possibly add, but we do have to check and see what's available.
And that's 6 people per boat.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mia, I had a question. For the people that were carried over from last year into this year,
Yep.
We still submit the paperwork again, I assume.
Yes. Yes, please do. And I actually will have to have a refreshed check for the deposit because the bank won't take the old ones. And one of you has already provided that. Bravo. But for the rest, yes, I do need a new form. Any other such questions? Cool. Well, I would normally say, come on over and give me your reservation form right now, since we're all here, but all I can ask you to do is mail them in. Oh, thanks, Joel. Oh, I know, Crispin.
Mia,
Yes,
this is Hallie and Dave.
go ahead.
You got muted.
You're muted.
Hi,
Yeah.
where's the form for the trip? Is it on the
So if
website?
Yeah, go to the website and look for the membership package. Is that what it's called, Steve? What's the link called?
You can either click on the member package on the homepage or go to this year's trips link on the right side of the page and scroll down to Spain and click on the links in the trip write-up for the reservation and release forms. Just as
Okay,
we always
great.
do.
And then what is the deposit again? Refresh my memory.
It's $100.
$100.
What is it?
It's
$100
$100, yeah,
Okay, all right,
Yep.
thank you.
per person.
All right.
per person.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing Gary.
Okay, I'll go back to Sharon. then.
There you go.
Okay, thanks, Mia. The final trips of the year will be in October. Actually, what we did this year was
Gary, you're not shared.
I'm not?
Nope.
No,
Well, let's try again.
and also I think we want to do a drawing.
Yeah,
Oh, I
Right.
missed the drawing. I'm not keeping to my schedule very well.
Okay, for yet another $50 gift certificate off a future sailing trip. Henry,
awesome.
I think that's a fix. Can we retroactively have a rule about no two people in the same household?
No.
Okay, congratulations.
Okay, so get me back on my schedule here. We have 2 trips scheduled in October. Actually, what we did, so why do we have 2 back-to-back trips? What we did was we chartered the boat for the entire week, rather than saying take a 3-day and then a 4-day charter or something like that. That way, it's more economical to charter the boat for the entire week. And we felt that we could get larger and nicer boats and still keep the costs in line with other trips that we've taken in the past. So we have 2 2018 Catalina 425s chartered for this week. Dilly Dilly and Kathy C out of Haven Harbor. So Chesapeake One is the weekend cruise, and Marianne, I believe you were going to go through this because it does include Tillman Island days.
Yes, one of my favorite places to visit in October on the Chesapeake is for the Tillman Island Day, which is one day, October 14th, 15th, 16th, October 16th, Saturday. But we are going to assemble at Haven on Thursday, late afternoon, to board the 2 boats spoken of. They each have 3 cabins and 2 heads. So they're pretty roomy. And we're hoping we won't have to wear masks, but that'll be determined closer to that date. So as we gather on Thursday evening, we'll go out for a group supper at a local restaurant, get to know each other, and depart Friday morning relatively early, 9 a.m. and head down the Chesapeake, down past Annapolis and past the Thomas Point Lighthouse to Knapp's Narrows Marina, where we have slips reserved for us. It's a 24 nautical mile sail, and hence that's why the early departure. At Knapp's Narrows, there are modern facilities. There's now an inn there. So if anyone had family members that did not want to be on a boat, they could literally join us by staying at the inn and join for the following day's activities. There's free Wi-Fi, there's showers, restrooms, laundry, picnic benches, barbecue grills, and there will be paddle boards and kayaks for rental. If weather permits, that's an option. The put-in is not in the channel where the boats are. It's behind the inn in a nice, shallow, calm area. Saturday's the main event. Tillman Island Day is all about honoring the history of Tillman Island, long a fishing, crabbing, oystering place that people that live there, that is how they survive. Now, sadly, it's waning. It's almost a lost way of life, but there are still watermen, there are still working crab boats, and it's all about celebrating that strong history. There are contests and all kinds of food, including, if you don't like seafood, hot dogs, burgers, barbecue chicken, etc. And of course, ice cream. That evening, oh, I forgot to mention, an important thing about this year's trip, the past 2 or 3 years that we've gone, we've taken slips in St. Michael's and had to arrange for vans, cabs, other ways to get over to Tillman Island. Now, with recent dredging, we're able to go right to Knapp's Narrows, which is the bridge we cross over when we walk from the parking lot there, right into the little community of Tillman Island. You could walk, or you could take the school buses that the volunteer fire department schedules, and they run all day basically. So there's options there. And then you're free to wander at will through the island all day. Music starts around 3 o'clock. There's eating, there's workboat races, crab picking contest, oyster shucking contest, always very good and entertaining. And if you're patient, you might walk away with a nice big container of oysters, because they just shuck them. They're not planning to eat them, so they give them away at the end of that contest. There's a $5 donation requested, and that goes to the Tillman Island Volunteer Fire Department. That's a big source of their income. The cost of that trip is $380, am I correct? And there is a discount of $50 a person if you sign up for both parts of the trip. We sail back on Sunday after a leisurely breakfast, basically back the way we came, and we'll clean out refrigerators, clean out what those disembarking, and there'll be new folks coming on for the midweek portion of the trip. And that's back to you, Gary, unless anybody has questions.
If there's no questions, I think we were going to do the fifth drawing.
Okay.
So Lisa, you're
Okay.
on.
Once again, another $50 gift certificate.
As long as it's not named somebody Jelinek.
Okay, here we go. Is this person on the line?
I don't believe Dan's here.
No, I didn't hear her join.
Yeah, she did
Okay.
RSVP.
All right, I'll pick another. John,
Yeah.
Yay, thank you.
Yay.
congratulations.
You're very welcome.
So the second part of our Chesapeake sale is a weekday cruise. We'll take over from the weekend cruise. And sail down the Chesapeake again. We'll rendezvous on Sunday as the weekend crew departs so that we can load up our boats. And on Monday, I'm planning to sail from Rockhall down to, right now, Tillman Creek, which is right inside Tillman Point on the northern tip of Tillman Island. That is in the Eastern Bay. There's the Wye River down there, and the Miles River, and a whole plethora of other anchorages that we may or may not go to, depending on weather and wind direction and all those considerations. I've been to Tillman Creek. I think it's a nice little anchorage, nice and quiet, and that's where I'm planning to go now. On Tuesday, we'll sail from Tillman Creek over to Harrington Harbor South Marina, where we have 2 slips reserved. That should give us, it's about a 20-mile sail, and depending on what time we leave, we should have plenty of time to, rather than just go directly to the marina, to go and get in a bit of sailing on the Chesapeake. Harrington Harbor South is a nice marina. I've been there a couple times in the past. They have 2 restaurants on site. Hopefully we'll be able to use those. There's a nice little town that it's next to called Rose Haven. They also have 2 beaches. Unfortunately, at the time we're going in mid-October, I doubt that the swimming pools will be open. But they do have charcoal grills and things like that if we're not going to the restaurant. And again, I think it's a very nice marina. On Wednesday, planning to sail back from Harrington Harbor, past Annapolis to an anchorage up the Severn River. Right now, I show the destination is I think it's called Round Bay up there. There are a number of other creeks just north or just south of Round Bay that we might be able to go into. And in fact, one of them, I think 2 of them, have Navy moorings that the Navy uses when there's hurricanes and the like that they can moor their boats at. Hopefully there's no hurricanes, so we might be able to pick up one of those moorings as well. And then on Thursday, we'll sail from our anchorage up to Severn, back down underneath the bridge and back to Haven. We'll fuel up, we'll pump out, remove our gear, and then unfortunately depart. Anybody have any questions about our weekday sail? Okay, I think it's time for another door prize drawing. So Lisa, again, you're up.
Yep, this will be the last one. Okay. Linda Murphy, are you on the line?
No, she's not.
Okay. Rudy.
Hey, Rudy.
Hey, Rudy.
Okay, so we had 6. That's great. Congratulations.
The last thing I'd like to do is that concludes my part of the presentation, but I would like to throw it out to the other board members if they have anything to add. If not, does anybody have any questions? Unfortunately, I can't unmute everybody like I can mute everybody, but so you'll have to unmute yourselves.
Yeah, Gary, it's Craig. I just wanted to thank the board members for keeping us together over the last year. You know, fun series of Zoom. I wasn't able to make all of them, but you know, it was a tough time for a lot of folks, a lot of isolation, particularly early on, and it was really great the way you
have
kept
the
that
dates
going.
for on the water training.
Yeah.
Thank you, Craig.
How much is the this is Hank Jelinek. How much is the on water training?
$285.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, it's all on the website.
Okay, everything's on the website. Very good. Thank you.
It's Mia. Let me just, in speaking to that observation about the Zoom meetings last year, we are definitely talking about continuing to do some Zoom meetings even after we're able to all get together, you know, and socialize. Even, you know, we'll continue do Zoom social events as long as conditions are as they are now. But even after that, when socialization is a little more possible, I know I have found it really great to see faces of people who are far away in our sessions, including today. You know, so definitely keep looking for those, and we will keep doing them even after we are able to also do in-person meet and greets in New Jersey.
Could I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us when about we will know whether the Mallorca trip is going through or not?
Probably early June is when the low penalty cancellation, boat cancellation date is, just like last time.
Yeah.
So we would be aiming to make a decision around then.
Okay, thanks.
It has a long, that charter company in the Med has a 90-day boat cancellation,
Oh, yeah.
time frame. So it's an
Sure.
earlier decision.
Sure. This is Mary Ann. I just wanted to also throw out that we haven't organized anything because we don't want to be set up for disappointment. But should everything keep going well, the way it has been, and people get vaccinated and the rate of new infection slows, Bob Rainey and I still want to do that back to Hawaii trip, hoping late January, February of 2022. So often check back at the website for information, but something like that, we would broadcast. That would be a broadcast email. Oh, and that's the other thing. A lot of people don't realize if you're not getting the broadcast emails, go to the website, go to the right-hand side where there's things in a box. And towards the bottom in that box, you can sign up to get the broadcast emails and/or correct your email address. Because things change over time. People get new email addresses, close old accounts. So if you're not getting them, it's the onus is on you to make sure you're on the broadcast email list.
I think she has to go.
Mary Ann, are those Chesapeake trips on the same boat?
Yes, same boats.
Okay.
So if you sign up for the full 2 trips,
Oh,
you don't have
discount.
to move.
Save $100.
Mia, what if one boat is all signed up for the whole trip? Would you eliminate the trip back to Haven Harbor?
That's a good question, but I throw that to Gary and Mary Ann because it's.
Oh,
it's their
sorry.
trip. No, that's okay. Gary, did you hear the question?
I have to say that depends on who's on the boats, and if everybody is on the same boat, I think it's a good possibility that we would not have to go back.
Yeah, it's an
But
interesting
we have to
point.
replan and say where are we going to go and what do we want to do. I would like that because that would permit us to go further south on the Chesapeake and maybe
Right.
get to some anchorages that we don't normally get to.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you'd want to catch up with the second boat that may be changing crew, so you wouldn't want to be
Too
two
far.
one-boat trips.
I think that is something that will have to be figured out once we see who signs up for what.
And if both boats, if we can fill both boats for both trips.
Well, that's different. I just like to mention that very quietly and unbeknownst to many people, I think, New Zealand won the America's Cup.
Yes.
Oh,
Really?
Yes, it did.
I
They-
posted it
they-
on the Sailing Club's Facebook page. That's another thing you could do at the website is connect to that.
You mind me scrolling or?
No.
I really enjoyed watching the races.
Last name.
It's really great.
They beat the Italians who beat us in the
Oh,
trial.
you were there, Steve, on the boat?
No, I didn't even know it was happening in
Well, why do you use the term us?
US.
Yes,
It
US.
caused me to make a teeny tiny America's Cup paper sailboat.
Put it in a bottle.
Yeah, I have a project going on here.
So you foil it on a bird bath or what?
No, it's going to be in this little water-filled stand.
But, you know, NBCSN was carrying all the races late at night, like 10 o'clock.
Yep.
But the
Actually, 2 o'clock.
we could not find the final race
Oh,
and they were showing motocross.
well,
Must have been on the
Motocross
ESPN
come
or
on
something.
after the racing when I was watching, but
Yes, the final race was carried over. That's why it was initially delayed and then carried to the next day.
I see, okay.
And when
I
do
think
we
we
start?
finished our
And when do
for-
we
our
start
formal
chartering?
part of the presentation. But I was just going to leave this, the Zoom go for another half hour or so that we could do some socializing and things like that. So
feel
feel
free
free to speak
to.
up.
Was there a question, Walt?
Yeah, well,
No, I'm joking around. So when do we start chartering foil boats?
Never.
Listening to
Never.
those speeds, 30 and 40 knots.
yeah, hearing the sound in person, as some of us will recall, it's like they're pretty impressive that they go so fast.
They go faster than the wind, literally.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, no, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
They sound like jet engines. It's like,
Yeah, the hydraulics make a terrible noise. So when there's America's Cup.
yeah, really.
It's almost not a sailboat race anymore.
Oh, that's Joel.
It's a little closer to ice boat racing than it is
You're right.
sailboat racing.
Right. Yes. Somebody was just
See
saying.
everybody, I'm going to skip out.
Okay, Nancy.
Yeah.
See you.
See you.
Eric, I'll do the same.
I gotta drop too. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.
You too.
Yeah, I'm gonna disconnect Andy over here.
Okay.
All right.
Take care. I'm
Bye
gonna
now.
go too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. See you on
Yeah.
the water.
Bye, everybody. Bye. I'm going to.
And this
For
is
those of
on,
you who are still left on the call, this is Jim Nixon. I haven't been paying attention to the trip sizes in the last couple of years, but judging by what was projected for this year, are the trip sizes small because you anticipate COVID problems, or because that's the kind of subscription that the club is being able to do these days?
The subscription size. We had 3 boats in France. We had, how many do we have in England? 3?
2.
2, right.
We had 2 boats with only 4 people on a boat.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, Jim, the
we
club has
almost
gotten a lot.
wouldn't do the trip.
Jim, the club has gotten a lot smaller.
Yeah.
So, when we have 45 to 50 members, and so you figure there's only 18 to 20 people that are pretty active regularly, it gets hard to fill them. So we have been, the reason for the fewer number of trips is because of COVID. We didn't try and schedule anything else besides what we have, because it just becomes a nightmare to try and keep canceling stuff and try and getting money back and stuff. But as far as numbers of boats, it's just been demand.
Interesting. How about in terms of the number of skippers you have to deal with and backups?
That's pretty shrunk too. We have 5 skippers. If I
And
count-
nobody in the pipeline.
1, 2, 3, and 4 or 5 first mates tops, with a couple in the pipeline.
Okay. Who's going to be the train?
Sorry, go ahead.
Gary.
Who's going to be the training, whatever you call them these days?
Coordinator.
Supervisor or
Gary.
Gary, okay.
Taking that
So I
on.
was looking in after I got the notice of the meeting, and as people have said, this is an easy thing to attend when you're coming by Zoom. When you're coming in person, it's a little more difficult. Once I got the meeting notice, I started thinking a little bit more and at least reading the requalification statistics that are written up in the on the website. And so I guess if I would ever think about requalifying again, I got to talk to Gary.
Yep.
Okay.
You'd be very welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Very well.
All right, this is Andre. This is Andre. I'm going to be signing off. I'm going to download the stuff off the website, and Mary and I will take a look at it, and we'll get back to you guys. I hope to join you guys on a trip, though.
All right.
Great, Andre. Thanks for lying in.
Feel
And
better.
it was nice to see some of you that I know, like Mary Ann right there. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, Jim, it would be great to do another Anacortes trip. It's been like a decade and a half or something since we did the Washington trip.
It has been a long time. That's true. It's interesting that Canada's been closed, obviously, all of last year. Canada has been closed to US boats. And so a significant number of people who would have gone to Canada wound up going up to the San Juans. And it was just packed in terms of being able to use the facilities up there. We're about 200 miles south of there, down by Tacoma. And the South Sound is what they call it. It's remarkable how much water is down here and how many interesting places to go, but it's not particularly a tourist destination at all. There aren't that many charter firms, but if you could charter a boat, there's lots of interesting places to go, and some of them are 10 miles between sails and between locations, and some of them are 50 miles between locations. So it's a great place to be.
Is
that might be another alternative instead of going north where the crowds is come south, or start here.
Right.
Yeah, but is Anacortes Yachts still in business chartering?
I haven't checked the individual charter firms, but there's still a slew of them up there.
Oh, there are. Okay.
Bellingham and Anacortes, yeah.
Bellingham, yeah.
Hi. So
Let's look into that.
for the trips that are on now, is there any thought of, do we have to make sure people have a vaccine to go, or we're just gonna go forward and see what happens?
Yeah, we did not cover our new our statement about
I
our.
thought that was on Gary's. Gary's note.
Can you mute Karen?
Karen, yeah, Karen, you need to
Gary,
mute.
can you mute Karen?
Gary, mute Karen.
Wait, hang on.
I heard
Hang on just a second.
Karen, mute yourself.
Yeah.
There. Thank you. She's muted.
Okay. Gary, are you hearing the question? Did you hear the question?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I asked if there was a requirement, for the sailing this year. Have we thought about people have to have a shot to be able to go, or what's the story on that?
That
We
was on the
discussed
agenda.
that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mia.
No, I think that was supposed to be part of your talk.
We did discuss if we were going to have any requirements or anything. We talked about what other companies, especially travel companies, are doing and things like that. And what we decided was ultimately it's the board's responsibility for the safety of the members on any trips or anything. And we decided that being unsure of what's legal and what's not legal, especially in the sailing club, that it would be that we would assess each trip, and depending on where we are and what's happening with the coronavirus, et cetera, if any of those trips seem to be an unsafe trip, we will cancel the trip, or we will take the appropriate action. As far as asking anybody or demanding that anybody have a vaccination or whatever, we're not doing that.
Because it doesn't ensure that you would not be a carrier. Having a vaccination will limit the severity of your infection, but you could still be carrying germs and infect other people. And so it more depends on how widespread the contagion is, what our numbers are like, in the state, and how comfortable people are, because on a chartered sailboat, even the large 3-cabin, 2-head ones that have chartered for the Chesapeake trip, you're sharing small spaces. You're not going to be 6 or 8 feet apart, but you're going to be 3 feet apart, basically, for most of it, if we're conscious and if we wear masks, except for when we're eating. And we could eat up top or do it in shifts, which we sometimes do anyway because of logistics. So it's possible to do it safely, but if it's not possible due to statistics, that's what the club has decided, that we can't even come up with a policy because there really is no 100% safe way to do it.
Sure, a lot too will depend on the prevailing conditions at the destination. Restaurant restrictions for the international trip, getting there and around and so forth. If it appears to be, unduly hard or restrictive to just even having fun or getting there, those are the kind of factors. So we didn't come up with our own health protocols for the club itself.
Okay. Yeah, I just wondered, since, like I said, I'm on the, I sent that email about I'm on the under 65 healthy and non-essential. So
Right.
I'm with you, Sherry. I become eligible to sign up on Monday.
Yeah, so, the story that, they'll just open it up to the rest of the population was it May 1st? Like, oh, great.
Yeah, but-
So now I'm competing to get a shot with the rest of the world.
It's not just the vaccine. The vaccine is, as the attorney I spoke to on this for the club said, the vaccine's not a silver bullet. And you may have the vaccine. There's still a lot they don't know about what happens to others around you. And can we even ask if you even had one, never mind requiring one. So there's a whole lot that we just decided we're getting into a can of worms that or a rabbit hole we don't want to go down as a board. So it's just like we looked at last year. Is it safe to get there? Is it safe to go out for dinner? Never mind. Then the last one is, are you comfortable being on a boat with 5 other people in a relatively enclosed space? So all that kind of where we are with it.
And
Can I just say something? All right, isn't it dictated by the charter companies too? They're gonna, I'm talking about, I'm thinking about the Mallorca.
Not at this point.
Aren't
no.
they gonna ask that people that charter their boats be vaccinated?
Well, they haven't yet, as far as we know. Cruise ship companies are starting to do that. And even that, those are some international things. There's a lot of question even about whether airlines can demand it. And the airlines, at least the US carriers, they want the federal government to make that decision for them. They don't want to be fighting with passengers, potential passengers. You can't board the plane if you don't have a vaccination. The airlines don't want to get into that. So if they don't, we certainly don't. But the charter companies are doing all these protocols about washing the boats down and, all the sterilization methodologies. But it still goes beyond that. It's person to person transmission. And are you going to be in a position, are enough people going to be safe being on a boat and going to restaurants, food shopping on Spain, or even in other places where we might end up going that we don't know what the conditions are,
Well, they may
present unknown. So the more unknowns there are about any particular trip, the more likely it is we wouldn't end up doing it.
Well, the EU may develop vaccine passports too. I mean,
There's all that. And right now, with Italy having gone back to some lockdowns, Paris just going into a $30 lockdown, Europe's going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going to happen by
right
late May. And for those that are going to be on the Spain trip, I'm not even going to even think about booking some airfare.
Someone's at the door. I gotta go. Bye.
Bye, Lisa.
Bye,
So,
Lisa.
it's so
I'll
complex.
email the list of the winners. So
I got it.
Okay. Well, I'll email them anyways, just to make sure we didn't miss any.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks, Lisa.
And to that end, because we know that the trips are, if that, then checks will be held. They're not, in other words, if you sign up for a trip, until you get confirmed that, yes, you're on the trip and yes, we're cashing your check, don't feel like you're putting yourself out there. You're not going, we will not, the club will not, or Steve will not as treasurer cash those checks. It's just a placing with fingers crossed that everything goes as hoped and planned, Because the thing is the trends, infection. We want to slow the infection rate. If the infection rate gets slowed, I myself, I just got my first shot. I don't get the second till April 7th. I want to go, but I'm not going to risk my health to go.
That answer your question, Sherry?
Yeah, it did. I mean, it makes me, feel a little better that I'm not going to be like, oh, if I put in, for a trip and then somehow the rules are going to change and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
You're not going to.
Pennsylvania's incompetent and they didn't get their shots done fast enough. Or something.
Yeah.
The club, in all our policies, the club has always been, and Jim can attest to this because he created a lot of them. The club has always been very risk averse. Well, we have a lot of procedures and on water and even whatever. So if there's a hint that there's a problem, okay, so let's say, as a quick example, let's say, okay, Mallorca, opens up, but the rest of the Spain is closed and half of Europe is closed. Well, how the hell are you going to get there? Unless, so, that just puts our members at risk. And our primary obligation is for the safety of our members, as Gary said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just wondering, because I know Maryland, right, last year they had these rules, first it was like there was no boating, that was just pleasure. Yeah. And then they had, okay, you got pleasure boating, but only if you live in the same household. So, yeah, you have crazy things going on there in Maryland.
And that was before we knew a lot. Now we know more, and it may not be any better, but Haven had some record business because families or, close togethers or bubble groups or whatever were chartering the boats. Yeah. So they had that business. So
because they couldn't travel anywhere else, they had a busier season than normal.
Yeah.
Do you know what Maryland's boating rules are right now?
No.
Okay.
I think it's still just family. I think that is still what they're saying now, but Jackie expected that to change. It was due to run out. It's going to run out, I think, the end of March. So
okay,
that's
good, at least that
there's
an expiration on it. Okay.
Well, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily safe.
Right.
Yeah,
and Maryland could change their mind and start implementing things again. Yeah.
Anyway,
it depends on the infection rate. That's what we've got to slow the curve, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
If we can do that, then
bend the curve. Okay. Bend the curve.
Bend the curve. That's it.
I think we should just squash it.
I like that.
Let's be done. Just squash it.
This meeting was a real pleasure for me. It was really enjoyed seeing all of you who I haven't seen for a long while. And thank you for letting us play with you.
Yes.
Well, thanks for
thank you, Jim, for joining.
Jim, I like your stay in Richmond look.
Thanks. Yeah.
Stop in when you're in Coronado.
That's right. We get close occasionally.
Okay.
Who's in Coronado?
Oh, Karen, it's good to see you off mute. Hi, Karen.
Hi. How are you, John?
Oh, I'm good.
Good. How's your brother doing?
He's doing much better. It's very slow, baby steps. He used a walker for the first time this week.
Good.
Monday and yesterday.
Good.
I'm looking forward to when he's coming home, which I still think is a couple weeks away. I'll be going down there for a few weeks to assist him.
John, what happened to him?
He had COVID in December. Then he had a perforated colon while he was in the hospital with COVID, and had a very serious, risky abdominal operation. During that, was on a respirator. He developed, not unexpectedly, many abscesses in his abdomen due to the perforation, and was very, very sick.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. He's out of the hospital now?
Yes, he is. He finally got out of the hospital, Savannah Memorial, on around middle of January. Then he went to a specialty hospital because of all his issues, recovery and infections. And then after about 2.5 weeks, he went to a rehab, intensive rehab for 2 weeks. And now he's in a assisted living, long-term care facility, getting rehab and gaining strength.
It sounds like is directionally correct. How old is he?
77.
Oh,
Yeah, he had. I have to find a name for him, something feline, because he definitely has more than. Well, he had three lives, that's for sure. But it was very touch and go.
yeah. Well, I'm glad he's doing better. Seems to be on the road.
Yes, thank you. He's doing much better.
Good. Wow.
Sherry and Hallie and Dave, I realize that you folks are newer to the club than some of us older members here. Did you know that Jim Nixon, the guy that has left, was the founding member? He founded the sailing club. He started it.
Oh, no,
No,
I didn't
we
know
didn't
that
know
at
that.
all.
Yeah,
And yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
nice that he was able to
yeah,
attend. But he's all the way out in Seattle.
yeah. But he used to be more recently in North Carolina, and before that up here, and worked at AT&T. And if you can go on the website and read about the startup of the club. They were a ski club, and one day having beers, they learned that a lot of them in the summer enjoyed sailing. So that was the origin of the club.
Great.
Over a couple of beers, that's how most good things start.
Yeah, John Francis Getty was a member way back then. Was that
Yeah.
in 82 or 83, John?
Yeah, 83. Well, that's how it started. Jim wanted to do something for the summer. Him and another former member, Jack Mazza, owned a boat, but Jack's kids had started college, so they had to sell it. And Jim said, how can I go down to the Chesapeake? I need a good reason to get down there 3 weekends out of 4 a month. So he said, so we organized a Memorial Day trip that May in 83, got 5 skippers, 5 boats, and that's how it all started.
Wow.
Wow.
Out of
Yeah,
Havre de Grace.
Some of the early trips had as many as 10 boats and extra boats called friends of the club that would show up, and they would have a 12-boat raft in the Chesapeake.
I think the record was 17 in,
Mackerel.
I
That's
think
why
we
he
had,
was
I
asking.
think that was a trivia question in one of our meetings.
Yeah. That's why he was asking why are the trips so small? Because that's, even when I joined in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was common to have 4 or 5 boats on a trip, and at least 4 of those were charter boats. And then there'd be a couple of friends of the club, especially on the Chesapeake.
Yeah, well, Jim remembers it as my first year in the club was 94, and the Labor Day trip was 15 boats.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that was a tradition. That very first year, he didn't run another trip until Labor Day, but through word of mouth, it was supposed to be maybe a 4 or 5 boat trip, but it wound up being, I think, 9 boats and with a waiting list.
Wow.
And 2 people on the waiting list actually showed up on a Friday night, and I believe it was a marina in Annapolis. And I remember it vividly because they wound up sleeping one night, and on 1 or 2 of them were on the boat I was on, and I wound up sleeping on a shelf above one of the in the main cabin above one of the lounges. And it was very
How many hours? do you
memorable
take
because
to raft
all I
up
did was
17 boats.
What's that, Hans?
How many hours does it take you? Did it take you to raft up with 15, 17 boats?
That
hours.
trip, so we didn't have very good raft control there. That took an hour or so, if I recall.
That's
It
not
was
so
tough.
bad.
Well, the boats weren't arriving all at the same time, so it was tough to judge. We were coming back from Martha's Vineyard, and one of the boats was disabled, had a fire. Remember that? I don't know if you were on that trip, John. Roy's boat had a fire, so we had one of the boats. Most of the boats were in the mid 30, upper 30 range. One boat was a Freedom 47. It was Joe Johnston's boat, and so everybody had to. She basically ferried the 5 or 6 people from the boat that was got disabled, up to the raft top. And when she finally got there, it was like, okay, we got 8 and 8, and well, just put her on the end, overlapping both. It was back-to-back raft, but it was a big raft. And we've had others. 7, I think the 4th of July trip that year was about 7 or 8 boats. We also used to do a lot more trips. We had Memorial Day in June, and Labor Day in August, and
July 4th
October.
trips.
And we had a icebreaker, which would sometimes be very early May. Then we have the Frostbite, which was always Halloween weekend. But a lot of interests as the membership grew older. Started to other things. So we ditched the 4th of July because people felt there was more family barbecuing going on. And then the Memorial Day trip disappeared. And so it's what it is now.
Well, maybe
the
it's a
reason
good
for that too, because it was always so hard to get boats for the holiday weekends. And then the July 4th trip was usually in the Chesapeake. And July in the Chesapeake is notorious for being hot, humid, and no wind.
No, July was always up on Long Island Sound, and there were more. You're right, John, but there were also more charter companies there, and a number of them, especially Stonington and Newport. A lot of them disappeared.
Yeah, but that's why we switched. We went from the Chesapeake to Long Island Sound because of the weather and much better sailing and cooler temperatures.
Typically, but on the other hand, I remember doing an August trip on the Chesapeake that was absolutely delightful.
Yes,
In fact, you were on my boat that one, John.
Yep, I
like,
recall.
It was like in the 70s and 10 to 15 knot breeze. It was gorgeous. Anyway,
well,
such is the club.
Well, we're gonna sign off. It's great to see everybody.
Likewise,
Okay,
Hallie,
so-
Dave.
Likewise. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for a good meeting.
Take care.
Well, maybe it's a good thing with people pursuing sailing now, even as families, they, get more people introduced to it and say, hey, wow, this is great. And, they can join clubs to go out sailing and not have to pull a whole family along when, things open up. Different folks in the family want to do different things.
Yeah. It's also interesting that there are a lot fewer charter companies in the Chesapeake. In Haven, there's only, in Rock Hall, there's just the one now. There used to be 3. We used to go down to Oxford. There's Trade Avon Yachts down there.
Annapolis. I don't know if Annapolis is still there.
Yeah, Annapolis Yacht Charters is still there. And Sunsail is based in, well,
Oh,
they're not quite based in Annapolis because they merged with the Moorings Company and we're all down in St.
Yeah.
Pete now, but.
I think Dream Yacht has an Annapolis base now too.
Yeah.
Might be right.
Annapolis is big because I think they make enough just on boat show weekends for hoteling.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then there's always Deltaville has charter company.
Yes, this is. Well, I think Deltaville Yacht Charter is one we used to use is gone, but there's still somebody down there.
Yeah, because Philadelphia Sailing Club comes out of there for trips from time to time.
Yeah,
That sounds fun. Have you ever done that? Come out of Deltaville?
Yes, we were down there twice, many years ago. One was like a
long way to get
5-day
there.
trip.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's one that, they would always do at least a week long out of Deltaville to make it worth the drive.
Well, we would have to because it's
Yeah.
like a 7-hour drive from New Jersey.
A long one. Even Annapolis is, a little bit of a trek because of traffic.
Right. Yeah, although coming down the Eastern Shores usually works out better.
Yeah.
Well, also, the Annapolis charter companies are at least 50% more than Haven.
Yeah, that's why, like you said,
Yeah.
the PSC tends to do Haven as well, but Deltaville is sort of its own thing.
Definitely, the business has changed.
We have a lot of boats out here. Come on out.
It's a funny thing, like Long Island Sound. I mean, I grew up on Long Island. There's tons and tons of sailboats. Stanford is a boater's haven.
Yep.
But guess what? There's so much money that people don't need to charter them to pay for the boat. It's all private ownership.
And that's what happens out here too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I know.
Yeah.
There are some, this is why we did the California trip a few years ago, in June, shall I mention that? There are a couple of companies that have some bases like in San Diego and Long Beach, which is where we're going to go out of, and a couple other places up the coast there.
A little while back, there was discussion of a Sea of Cortez trip. Is that still a thinking, or forget it? No.
Julio had even I looked at it like 10 or 15 years ago, and it was like Moorings had a base there, and there was a 47-foot boat, a 41-foot boat, and some rowboats. And he looked at it a few years ago, and it was getting even worse. In fact, Moorings has pulled out. I don't think it's because of the piracy. It's just the business wasn't there for chartering, I guess. I don't know how Moorings lasted there so long. It was in, forget the name of the town. It was north of Cabo. It was up the coast about 100 miles. But yeah, I looked at that. It would have been nice, as long as you don't get hijacked. There's a lot of piracy in the Sea of Cortez.
Okay, yeah, I just think they regularly seem to have articles about it in the sailing magazines. There's another one about a guy going down and just, I think he was single-handing his boat just to get away.
Yeah, a lot of people take their private boats. That's very.
Yeah, well, every year, I don't know, do they still run the Baja Haha?
As far as I know, yeah.
Isn't that from San Diego down to Cabo?
Yeah.
But that's offshore. That's not in the Sea of Cortez.
But it's, Baja's definitely a popular cruising area for cruisers. Live aboard cruisers, but not so much charters.
Mm-hmm. Which company are you using for Majorca?
Dream Yacht.
Dream Yacht.
Dream, okay. Yeah, see if it goes by the wayside just because of the pandemic, will they let you switch to another destination?
Yeah, they were.
They keep changing their policies.
When we postponed last year, they also, switched to another destination or postponed, and we're like, there's nowhere else there's nowhere we can go at that point,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last year is hopeless. Yeah.
Right, but if we get to that point this year, and Spain is nuts because it kind of, I am sort of concerned. We might want to switch to, I don't know, Caribbean. Caribbean might be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah, I saw they added a base in Brazil. I think there was a recent
I
email.
saw something about Brazil. Yeah.
Really? Where?
Well, I think it might be Moorings that has one. I don't know.
Well, no, Dream Yacht, I'm just pulling it up on my phone while we're doing this. But yeah, they were talking about, they put in new places. Let me see if
Yeah, I actually.
they have 3
Moorings-
catamarans and 1 monohull in
Costa Verde.
Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Moorings asked me to give them a survey the other day, and it asked a question about, destinations and would I go to Brazil? It's like, Brazil?
Yeah, no, Dream Yacht
wouldn't.
opened in 2020. It's a base at Paraty, Paraty,
Looks pretty.
wherever it
Okay.
is, wherever that
Yeah,
is.
it's on the Costa Verde.
And it's currently closed. On the
Yeah,
Moorings, on the Moorings website. Yeah. Looks pretty though. Might be an interesting
Wow.
opportunity there. eventually.
Yeah, no,
It's basically it's Rio.
okay.
Right.
Costa Verde is in the state of Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, and they're up in Newport nowadays too. Huh. Boy,
Yeah.
Dream just keeps growing. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, then their pricing is, coming in slightly better than the whole Mooring Sun Sail conglomerate.
Yeah, that's why I ended up using them in 2014 when I did that 7-week thing. Oh. Any thoughts of trips for next year? Mid-year, other than Hawaii. Hawaii sounds good.
I'm having a rather parochial desire to go to the BVI. It's so simple and familiar.
Yeah, I think they were having a lot of requirements. I forget. So one of the SOSers went down, and he actually has a boat that's in charter down there, and it's like you have to get tested before you go. You get tested when you get there. Then after a few days, while you're there, you had to get tested again. Oh my gosh!
No,
Not just like
those are exactly the kind of requirements that will have me cancel the trip, because it's like not dealing.
well, and what you have to do. You probably have to keep going back to Tortola to get it taken care of too.
Yeah, right. Well, and the same thing with Spain. That's why if there's that kind of requirement to be in Spain, no, that's if the restaurants aren't open.
You have to quarantine even for 2 days when you get there. If there's a 48-hour thing, we can't do it.
Right. Yeah, they make provisioning tough and
that's,
everything.
Further elaboration on your question is like, we're not going to try if it's that crazy.
Well, we would like to know about some other good destinations to go to. I mean, once we do start resuming normal activities, if we ever do.
I want to do the Keys trip that we were supposed to do when we went out of Key West. Go out of Miami.
They went out of Miami.
The Northern Keys. Yeah.
Isla Morada, Marathon, and some of those.
Oh, Marianne dropped off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could just,
I was in the Keys last week by bicycle. It was beautiful and the wind was unbelievable. So it would have been a great time to be on a boat.
Yeah, I went down there. That's it. I had to get away from this winter and
what
got
part
on
of
a
the Keys,
schooner.
We biked from Miami to Key West and then took the ferry to Marco Island and then biked back across Alligator Alley into the wind.
Bike?
Bike.
Or motorcycle?
Wow.
No, bicycles.
Poor man's motorcycle. Wow.
Hey, I have to go, but I'll leave the Zoom go so you guys can chat. I'll be back in maybe 20 minutes.
You can stop the recording, I think, Gary.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, I should stop the recording. Good. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that.